Okay, everybody, so today we're talking about sequence. You might be familiar with sequence as sequence of events, something that we experienced very recently in chapter 20 was a sequence of events in order for a teen to find his Manitou. But there's also a sequence of events in our daily lives, right? You have a sequence of events for getting ready every morning. I know personally, I always get my toothbrush wet before I put toothpaste on it, and then I get it wet after toothpaste. And so first, I get my toothbrush. Second, I get it wet. Third, I put the toothpaste. And lastly, I get it wet again. So we all have these different sequences of events, different things we do that have a pattern and have different moments to them. So at this time, I'd like you to put into the chat, what is something that you have a routine with? That there's a sequence of events. It could be baking. I believe last week I talked about baking, how important it is to follow those sequence of events, follow those directions in order. So go ahead in the chat. What's something that you have a sequence to in your life? The school schedule. Yeah, that's definitely a good one. In the morning, we start by going over our daily agenda and 5 a day. Then we blah, 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 blah. Sometimes it changes, right? Getting dressed. Samantha, I'd like you to share, what is your sequence of events for getting dressed in the morning?
First I have to take off my pajamas and put my shirt on. And then I have to put my pants on. Then I put on my shoes after I put on my socks.
So Samantha used some great words. She put on her shoes after she put on her socks. These are all really important for sequence. So sequence. Sequence refers to the order in which events happen, also known as chronological order. Raise your hand if you've heard that term before, chronological order. Okay, I see a few hands. Chronological order is the arrangement of things following one after another in time. Now I see a lot of times in your 5-a-days we look at those root words, and so I wanted to point out the root word chron. Are you familiar with this root word? Mm-hmm. Show me a thumbs up if you're familiar with it. So chron is a Greek root word meaning time. And an example of chron in a word is chronic, meaning all of the time. Throw into the chat if you have other words with the root word chron. Chron. I know everyone knows at least 2 words with the Greek root word chron. Oh, Nicholas has one. What's yours, Nicholas? Chronicle. That's a good one. Definitely uses the root word chronicle. The root word chron. And Nicholas, do you know the meaning of chronicle? You know it has something to do with time, right? Noah? Chronograph. Chronograph is a word. Did you look that one up, or do you already know that one? It's another word for a watch.
No, that isn't right either, Derek.
So chronological. There are a couple other words with that root word chron. There's actually quite a few. But ones that I was thinking about in particular were synchronous and asynchronous. Now raise your hand if you've heard synchronous or asynchronous before. I should see everybody's hand raised. I think we use synchronous or asynchronous every single day in our new online and in-person learning. So chronicle, as Nicholas said, history, recorded events over time. Synchronous, occurring at the same time, and asynchronous, not happening at the same time. Chron.
Asynchronous work time.
Mm-hmm. So chronological order is the arrangement of things following one after another in time. And this is really important for sequencing because we want to know exactly how things are happening and when they're happening, in what order. And things we use to show sequence and chronological order in writing are signal words. Signal words show a transition in time. I have some examples on here for you. First, second, soon, then, now, immediately, unit, while. So here are a few examples, but I know that you know more than just these. So I'm gonna pull a stick, and I'd like you to tell me a different signal word. And remember, a signal word is a word that shows a transition in time. First, I grabbed my toothbrush. Second, I put it under the water. Then, I grabbed my toothpaste. So I'm going to pull a stick. And Richie, what's another signal word you know? You know a signal word, Richie?
After?
After? Yeah, after. What about phase on? What's another signal word you know?
A signal word I know is like secondly.
Secondly, yes, secondly. We went to recess after. And Francis. Francis, what's another signal word you know? You say after? Yeah, we heard after. I see Pierce. Oh, I see Bonnie saying earlier. Pierce said once. Those are great signal words. So let's look. I have a few more for you. So here are a couple more ideas. Meanwhile, when, during, before, after, next, last, finally. So there are a lot of words, signal words, that can help show a transition in time in a sequence of events and to show chronological order. So signal words are really important for authors to use to show a transition in time. So I'm going to read a passage to you, and what I would like for everyone to do is when you see or when you hear a signal word, I want you to clap. Okay, so let's practice. After. Okay, so I'm going to read the passage, and when you hear that signal word, I want you to clap. And online, make it real clear that you're clapping. I want to see that clap. My science project was fun. I began by choosing to experiment with magnets. Then, I checked to see which materials were attracted to magnets. After a while, I noticed that only things with iron are attracted to magnets. The final step was to write a report that showed my findings. So let's take a look at those signal words. I heard a couple claps in class, and I saw quite a few students online. So I began, then, after a while, and the final step. See how these words help you know which order that the events happened in? We know by the phrasing of the final step was to write a report that showed my findings. We know by that wording and by those signal words that that's the very end, right? The final step. We know that's not the beginning. So signal words are very important to show sequence. And we just recently had an opportunity to read in our novel, The Sign of the Beaver, some sequence, and with some good old-fashioned signal words. So at this time, I'd like everyone to take out their Sign of the Beaver and turn to chapter 20. And in chapter 20, a team explains to Mac the sequence of events for finding of Manitou. So everybody, show me your Sign of the Beaver. Open to chapter 20 on your camera. Awesome. Thanks, Maddie. Thanks, Layla, Vonnie, Dylan. chapter 20 and show me your book?
Yeah.
Thanks, Francis. Thanks, Samantha. Awesome, everybody. Thanks, Sarah, Monica, Ted, awesome, awesome, awesome. Genevieve, Jameson. Awesome. Thanks, everybody. So, chapter 20. In chapter 20, a teen explains to Matt the sequence of events for finding his Manitou. So go ahead and look over chapter 20 real quick and find that page. Where does a teen start describing the sequence of events for finding his Manitou? And raise your hand when you found that page.
Here's where I'm gonna signal.
Raise your hand when you found that page where a teen begins describing his Manitou. The sequence of finding his Manitou. Monica, what page is that?
It's on page 108.
108. So everybody turn to page 108. And what we're going to do is look out for signal words while we're reading this passage. I'm going to read this paragraph about a teen finding his Manitou. Yeah, Mia?
Also, in 107, it's like the start is kind of describing it.
So we're just looking for the sequence of events for finding his Manitou. And if you have a pencil, on you, while I'm reading, I would like you to lightly mark in your book, those signal words for the sequence. So only if you have a pencil, and we're going to erase it after, you're going to lightly mark when you see those signal words that show transitions in time. And I'm going to read. He would go out into the forest alone. First, he would make special preparation, bathe himself carefully, and take a special medicine to make him clean inside and out. Then, he would go far into the forest and build himself a wigwam of branches. He would stay there alone for many days. He would not eat anything at all, even berries. After sundown, he would drink a little water from the brook. He would sing the songs that his grandfather had taught him and repeat the ancient prayer of his people, so that his heart would be worthy. If he did all of this, if he waited faithfully, one day his Manitou would come to him. Then he would go back to his village. He would have a new name. He would be a man and a hunter. Okay. And Urkham, buddy, what was the first signal word that you saw in this paragraph? One more time for Urkham. Okay, Richie.
I found first.
First. Yeah, that second sentence. He would go into the forest alone. First, he would make a special preparation. Excellent, Richie. Raise your hand if you can tell me the next signal word that was shown in this. Vonnie.
The next signal word is
Then he would go far into the forest and build himself a wigwam of branches. Awesome job. So what we're going to do next is list the sequence of events for a teen finding his Manitou. What we're doing here is not copying down what the author has said. We already know what the author said. We already know how it was written. It's in the book. We're going to be paraphrasing. We're going to be writing into our own words the sequence of events for a teen finding his Manitou. And we're going to do it together. I'll show you. Oopsie. And we'll edit it together. So I already started us off. He goes into the forest alone. after he goes into the forest alone? Um,
After a teen goes to the forest alone, can I have some help from someone?
let's see. Yeah, do you have, your book open? Make sure you're open to page 108. Nicholas, what's the next step?
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, okay, so he first makes a special preparation to bathe himself carefully. Then he takes a special medicine to make him clean inside and out. Then he would go far into the forest and build himself a wigwam of branches.
And I'll pause you right there. Awesome job. So just told us a lot of steps. So we already know that a teen goes into the forest alone, and then filled us in that he makes a special preparation. And he bathes himself carefully. And then he takes a special medicine. And then he builds himself, he goes far into the forest and builds a wigwam. Okay, so what does he do next? Do I have any volunteers who can tell us what he does next in the sequence of events?
Sure.
Jameson, what does he do next?
Next he doesn't eat anything at all and only drinks from the brook at sundown.
He doesn't eat at all, only drinks from brook at sundown. Yeah, Adam?
You sing the songs that his grandfather taught me?
And he was, oh yeah, he would sing the songs that his grandfather had taught him and repeat the ancient prayers of his people. So we'll put sing songs from grandfather and repeat prayers of his people. And what's next? What's next in the sequence of events? Let's see, Isha. Okay, so we'll put wait faithfully and man it to come. And what's next?
The teen returns.
Pierce, do you want to raise your hand?
Yeah.
Yes, Pierce?
A teen returns to his village.
So he returns to his village, and why don't you finish up? What's the last steps? He returns to his village, and what else?
He is honored as a man and a hunter.
What about before he's honored as a man and a hunter?
He gets a new name.
He gets a new name. So I'll put new name.
Yeah, but his name is still.
Honored as man and hunter. So through all that paragraph, those sequence of events, we were able to use those key words to figure out the order in which finding his Manitou took place. And today that's really important because we're going to be doing an activity called sequence circles. And in a sequence circle, I'll show you, it looks like this. So I'll zoom in so it's a little bit easier to see. Actually, that doesn't help. So this sequence circle, it says, a teen finding his Manitou. That's not helpful either. So what we'll be doing is writing the steps in order for a teen to find his Manitou. We've already laid them all out, and what you'll notice here is that there's only 4 boxes. 4 boxes. The outer boxes are the ones in which you write in, and the 4 inner boxes are the ones in which you draw pictures. And we'll go over that a little bit more in a couple seconds. But for writing the sequence of events, there are 4 boxes, which means out of all of that text we wrote, out of all of those events, we need to split them up into 4 major groups. So who can help me split these up into 4 major groups? Vonnie?
I noticed that there are 4 different words.
The signal words?
Yeah, there are 4 different ones. Maybe you can split up our one.
Okay, so Vonnie had a great idea. She was looking back at the book, and since she marked lightly with her pencil in the book, she knows where the signal words are. And she noticed that there were 4 key signal words in the book. So Vonnie, can you tell us where those signal words are?
There's first, then after, and then again.
So how would we split up these events?
You look at first ones first, and you can split them up by saying in the first paragraph that he bathes and goes into the forest alone.
So it says, if we look at the book, it says first he would go in to make his special preparation, bathe themselves carefully, take the medicine, clean inside, then he would go into the forest alone. So that was the second signal word that Vonnie pointed out, then. So I'm gonna highlight over here. And where does the next signal word appear? Can anyone tell me in class? So we have then he would go far into the forest and build himself a wigwam of branches. He would stay there alone for many days. Genevieve, where is it?
The next one is after sundown, he would drink a little water.
After sundown. So we'll see. After sundown, he would drink a little water from the brook, and he would sing songs. So I'm going to split this up. Right, so drink water, he's going to sing songs, he's going to repeat prayers of his people. And wait faithfully. So we have this section. And we have this section. And then a teen he has his Manitou. And he returns to the village after finding his Manitou. He gets his new name and he's honored as a man and hunter. So we have these 4 major segments. And let's see, this second one is pretty short. Maybe we can include drinks water in that one. That would make sense, huh? So now we have those 4 major segments that show the sequence of events in chronological order using our signal words from the text. So we have those 4 major groupings. And we're going to use that in our sequence circle. And in our sequence circle, we are paraphrasing the author's words, not copying. The events will be written in chronological order, and we'll use signal words to show a transition in time. So at this time, I would like everyone to go on Google Classroom and access their sequence circle document. So at this time, go into Google Classroom and bring up your sequence circle. It should be under the sign of the beaver. So I'm going to walk around class, make sure everybody's doing that right now. So pull up your sequence circle from Google Classroom.
And the rubric is on it. And I do believe, do they make a copy for you? They make a copy.
And a copy should already be made for you. So So everybody, go on Google Classroom, pull up this document, and the first thing you can do in that top right-hand corner is write your name and number. Name and number in that top right-hand corner.
Richie, please respond. Name and number in the upper right-hand corner. Bruce, name and number in the upper right-hand corner. So you're gonna name and number in the upper right-hand corner. So let's go ahead and access that.
Go ahead and put your hands on your head when you have that sequence circle document pulled up with your name and number on it.
Name and number right there, sweetie. Good job. You can do it. Alright.
Hands on your head when that document is pulled up and your name and number are on it. Awesome job, everybody. And while everybody is finishing up pulling that up, I'm going to review the rubrics for this assignment. So for this assignment, you're going to include transition words. Those transition words are those signal words we spoke about earlier. First, lastly, meanwhile, after. You're going to write 2 to 3 sentences for each event summarizing and describing the event related to a teen finding his Manitou. So again, we're not copying what the author has written. We are paraphrasing. We are writing in our own words the sequence of events. We need to include correct spelling, punctuation, and capitalization as always. We want to include 4 quality colored illustrations related to the event. And I'll show you the sequence circle again so we can talk about where exactly that will go. You're going to use descriptive language. We're going to use that higher level vocabulary. We're going to push ourselves to think of transition words, to think of signal words that are out of the norm. Not everything should say first, second, third, fourth. I know you are all much more creative and have a much more extensive vocabulary than just first, second, third, and fourth. And then lastly, something that everyone should have already done, include your name and number on the document. So let's take another look at this. So in that top corner, it has your little directions and you have your rubric attached. So a teen finding his Manitou. Directions. Using pages in the text, choose your own words to sequence the events that a teen must take in order to find his Manitou. Include at least 3 sentences in each step of the sequence and add a picture to show the section of the middle of the circle that relates to what you wrote. So what you'll notice in this sequence circle is that you have an outer circle and an inner circle. And in that inner circle is where you're going to provide that imagery. That's where you're going to illustrate, find a picture that really represents what's happening in that part of the sequence of a teen finding his Manitou. And we've already kind of set it up. We've already gone through the book and found those different events that happen for a teen finding his Manitou, and we even split it into 4 parts. But in our writing, we always need to start with an indent and a topic sentence. So the theme of this sequence circle is a teen finding his Manitou. So at this time, I want us all to brainstorm what would be a good topic sentence to start writing about a teen finding his Manitou. Remember that a topic sentence shares the main idea of the writing passage. So we're thinking of topic sentences, and I'm going to throw you into breakout rooms.
Yes.
And in your breakout room, you'll be discussing what topic sentence you should use for the sequence circle.
What were those breakout rooms earlier for?
One sec. So everyone's going to be thrown into breakout rooms, and while you're in your breakout rooms, you're going to be discussing what topic sentence you should be using for your sequence circle. The student with the largest number, we all have numbers, whoever has the largest number in your group is going to throw that topic sentence into the chat when we come out of our breakout room. Does everybody understand? Give me a thumbs up that you understand. Faryad, what are you going to be doing in your breakout room? directions are for your breakout room?
Yeah, you go by numbers and whoever's highest, who was like first for the sequence.
Okay, so let me review one more time so we all know exactly what's going on. Isha, do you have a question?
Yeah, can you turn the chat on in the breakout room?
Turn the chat on in the breakout
Are
room?
you allowed to? She wants to know if you're allowed to chat within the breakout room.
You're allowed to chat within the breakout rooms, especially because I know some students don't have microphones in order to communicate. So when you are in your breakout room, let me just be extremely clear. When you are in your breakout room, you are discussing the topic sentence that you are going to use for the sequence circle. We are writing about a teen finding his Manitou. So you want a topic sentence that shares that main idea of a teen finding his Manitou. I'm going to put you in a breakout room. You're going to discuss in your groups. And then whoever has the largest number, if I'm with someone who's number 4, 7, and 12, number 12 is going to, when we come out of the breakout room, write the topic sentence into the chat so we can all share. Yes,
This is your
Nicholas?
student class number.
Student class.
In the main call, all the breakout rooms don't have the chat.
Okay, thank you, Nicholas. Yeah, so I'll turn on the chat right now. And what are your questions? We're going to come up with some really great topic sentences. And let's see, is the chat working for everybody? Chat's working for everybody? Okay, perfect. So I'm going to throw everyone into some breakout rooms.
Richie, go ahead and respond to your breakout room and.
Okay,
write
when
that
you
topic
get an
sentence.
invitation to a breakout room, go ahead and take it and discuss with your group the topic sentence that you will be using for your breakout room, or for your sequence circle.
Respond to your breakout room. Join your breakout room.
Jameson, Trevor, Ariane, Genevieve.
Hello.
Did yours freeze? You're frozen on my screen. Genevieve, maybe you want to refresh your screen.
Do you want to do this or are you already planning on doing that?
No,
at
it's
some point?
highest to lowest, so you actually have to go first. Oh.
It
She
wasn't,
said that,
but I think that'd be helpful.
and, I know, that and you have to say topic sentence.
Let's use that whisper voice, okay? Use a whisper voice. Are you guys making progress? Making progress?
How's it going? Communicating.
I'm gonna be the last one to have to go.
So we're just gonna have a minute or two more to work on this together. Make sure you're communicating with your group.
Largest student number, and they're gonna write it down and then transfer it into. Make sure you write it down somewhere for the largest student number.
How's it going, kids? Everybody working together? Awesome.
Since that's the first sequence of the sequence
that's actually, we're supposed to describe like what we're sequencing.
Okay.
Okay, so mine is, it's time for Etienne to get his Manitou. That's the topic sentence though. The topic sentence is what we're like sequencing.
Okay, I'm gonna
We're
close
sequencing
out the
Etienne.
breakout rooms at this time.
This is our topic. First we will special preparation.
I know, the sentence describes.
Special preparation.
There it is.
Welcome back, welcome back. It's okay if you did not finish writing your topic sentence. Whoever is the largest number in your group, you should have figured that out, and they should put into the chat the topic sentence that you came up with. And if you didn't finish writing your topic sentence, like I said, that's okay. I hope you got some good ideas and started to brainstorm. And students in class, make sure you're muted. So I'm going to be watching the chat. Go ahead and put into the chat what your group talked about. So I see Nicholas wrote, a teen goes on a daring adventure to seek his Manitou.
Yeah, I was in.
I like that daring adventure. You were in that group here? Awesome. Lonnie said the first step for a teen to find his Manitou is ... So I think what Bonnie did was really great. The first step for a teen, so she's already thinking of sequence. So what I'm looking for is a topic sentence. So a topic sentence will come before we start the sequencing portion of the writing. So I have a couple of examples for the topic sentence. One example is, in order for a teen to find his Manitou, he must first make special arrangements in his trek through the forest. So you see, in this example, it's showing the main idea of the writing. In order for a teen to find his Manitou, he must first make special arrangements in his trek through the forest. So that's an example of a topic sentence. Let me show you another example from past students who have done this project. And I'll show the camera too some of the illustrations that they use. So ours will be a little bit different because it's digital. This student said, in order to find his Manitou, a teen must venture into the forest. So you see how those topic sentences are hinting at what the whole writing piece will be about. This example says, a teen wants to find his Manitou, so he must take these cautious steps. And then the student begins to talk about the steps in which to find the Manitou. So now it's your turn. Now it's your opportunity to write your sequence circle. And I'm going to present the sequence of events that we came up together. And remember, we're paraphrasing. We're not copying down what the author wrote. We're using our own signal words to write these paragraphs. What are your questions? What questions do you have about this assignment? Would it help for students online and in person if I wrote some signal words on the board and I'll show it with the camera? Yeah, that would help. I see a couple students nodding their heads. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and write some signal words on the whiteboard so you can see that in the camera behind me, and I'll back up so that you can see that. And at this time, you're filling out your sequence circle. This sequence circle is due Thursday morning before class. Thursday morning before class. So So you have, you're gonna be having a lot of time right now to work on this, so go ahead and make the most of this time. Like I said, I'm gonna have the sequence of events on the screen projected for you, and I'm gonna write some of those signal words on the board.
Miss Kruger,
Yes, Adam?
how are we supposed to do all four parts if there are only three parts in the slide? Yeah, but in this, there's only right here. Yeah, but right here is the top.
Did Mrs. Chucky make it clear for you? Do you understand, Adam?
So students, you are going to make your topic sentence, and in your after your topic sentence, you begin the first section of a Tian finding his Manitou. So for example, a Tian must venture into the wilderness in order to find his Manitou. First, he must. That's all section 1. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
Okay, that is part of section 1. Then in section 2, you begin with your signal word or your transition word to continue the next set of steps he must take. It's like chunking it into groups of steps that he must take in order to find his Manitou.
What was your question? Oh, pick a font? As long as it's appropriate and legible. So I'm just writing some signal words on the board just to spark your thinking. However, I think it's really important that you engage with your own vocabulary and you really try to push that complexity and use some higher level vocabulary. Maybe using a thesaurus, that would be really helpful. I think you can even access thesaurus directly from Google Slides.
So, your topic sentence. A Tian must venture into the wilderness and then first he must. That looks really good.
We're going to work independently for about 5 minutes and see how we're doing. Genevieve? No. So the topic sentence is for the overall piece of writing. So that first topic sentence was the main idea for the whole writing, for a teen finding his Manitou. How's it going, Tia? You working on your sequence circle? Did you have any questions? Make sure that first paragraph is indented, that you indent all of your paragraphs, just like normal. You want me to go through that? This is one of those opportunities where having your book right next to you is awfully helpful, isn't it?
Ms. Kruger,
Yes, Faison?
at the end of like each
Little section?
yeah,
Uh-huh.
after we write that, can we like for our last sentence of that section, can we like introduce what he's gonna do next?
Yeah, so, let me see. So what do you mean by that?
So like after let's say like if I'm writing after I said he's gonna take a bath,
Uh-huh.
the careful bath,
Mm-hmm.
can I like say then he must venture into the forest?
Yeah, of course. So you're paraphrasing. You're writing this into your own words. I'm gonna look at what I have showing you guys right now. I'm showing you all the different sections. That doesn't mean for the first section you have 4 separate sentences that say, first he goes into the forest alone. Then he makes a special preparation. After that, he bathes himself carefully. You can combine these into sentences. You're paraphrasing. You're making this your own. You're writing down the sequence of events and you're using transition words, these signal words, to show the events in chronological order. But you can combine these sentences. You want to make this your own writing. That was a great question, Faison. Thank you. Okay. Out of my phone.
You go to Google and then you
What's it got? Yes.
you find a picture of somebody going out to the forest.
Keep going,
And
kids.
then draw a line and then see if you fit right here. You can even go insert picture, but you gotta find it from Google first.
Nice work, everybody. I'm gonna walk around and look at some of the students in classwork. I'm gonna find someone who has some really good stuff going on. A lot of good work going on here. I'm gonna show you guys that first paragraph. You should kind of read that first section that you wrote there. Awesome job, Aisha. Do you mind if I share your first section?
Using the chunks things to review and putting into your own words, right? But you had a good topic, yes, starting off.
Okay, everybody, I want you to pause right now. Show me your hands. Show me your hands. Awesome. High tens. 5 and 5. High tens. Nice. I want to share with you Isha's topic sentence and how she began talking about her sequencing. So Isha wrote, do you mind if I read yours, Isha? Or actually, Isha, can you read it to us? Awesome. So you see how Isha starts with that topic sentence. In order for a teen to find his manitou, he must venture into the forest. So she has a topic sentence, and then she says to start. She has that transition word, that signal word, to bring in the steps, the sequence of events. And those events are chunked together. That's why we had those 4 sections. Those 4 sections, they have events chunked together. So we want to start off strong with that topic sentence, then we want to move directly into those signal words to write different events that are occurring for a teen to find his Manitou. So we're going to have a couple more minutes to work on this independently. But before we do, I'd like us to just kind of wrap things up with signal words and the sequence of events and chronological order, all of the great topics that we were talking about today. And I would like you to write as many as you can, as many signal words as you know into the chat. I want to see the chat flooded with signal words. So as many as you can think of, write as many signal words as you can into the chat at this time. Yeah, Genevieve? It should be open for everybody. So flood the chat. I want to see as many as possible. I see before, finally, while, meanwhile, next, after, now, first, later, during, oh my gosh, it's going so fast. During, after, now, later, then, during. Think of some advanced ones that we haven't seen yet.
Signal phrases, transitional phrases that you've seen or used.
Oh yeah, good point. Transitional
In the meantime,
phrases.
that's great. In the meantime, Danica, that's awesome.
The final step. At dawn, furthermore, in the beginning, the next day. Oh, these are amazing. Nice work, everybody. And now I have a question. And I'm going to pull, no, before that, the day after tomorrow, those are some great ideas. I'm going to pull a stick, and I would like this student to tell me why it's important to use signal words when writing things in chronological order, when writing a sequence of events. Why is it important to use signal words? And I have Danica. Why is it important to use signal words? So Danica says it's important to use signal words because it'll tell you that a new thing is happening. It's telling you the order of events, right? And let's see. Ted, do you have anything to add on to that? Ted, why is it important to use signal words?
So that you can tell people what time we're getting there and when you're getting there.
Yeah, so when are things happening? Signal words tell when things are happening. And we talked about chronological order, chron being time. We want to know when things are happening. When things are happening. So great work, everybody. For the remainder of this time, you're going to work independently on your sequence circle. So keep working on that sequence circle. Mrs. Pecky and I are around if you have any questions.
You should be.
And just a reminder, this is due Thursday before class.
If you raise your hand, if you have questions or you're struggling in a sequence, remember that it goes from 1, 2, 3 drops down. It's not return sweep. 1, 2, 3, and then backwards 4, like a circle.
Yes, students,
Okay.
pay attention to the numbers
And the
on
arrows.
the numbers and
Don't
the
return
arrows.
sweep. Joy, stop
I
checking.
believe it goes clockwise. break, everybody. Bye, that's the way.